Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am building something for my wife. Every year in November we go to the Texas Renaissance Festival. It is, I believe, the largest one in the United States, and it's super fun. My family gets together, we all kind of dress up, and we just spend the day out there eating and watching shows and having a good time. So last year, we saw a few ladies that had these cool mushroom hats, and my wife was very much in love with these hats, and I decided that I was going to make her one myself and then surprise her with a costume to go with her new hat. So today I am building a mushroom hat using a flat brim hat and a pillow and some wool. Let's get to building. I think it's important as a content creator to be honest with my audience and show my failures as well as my successes. I saw this hat at a rim fair and thought I could make it using a wool felt blank over the top of a woman's fedora. I have been watching a lot of hat videos recently, and I know that they use a similar starting material that is steamed and stretched over a buck. I don't have a steamer, but I do have a pot of boiling water, and after about 2 hours, I stretch and pulled at this hat to no avail. I eventually switched over to using a iron, and that worked a lot more, but eventually I got to a point where I flattened out the cone as much as it would before it started tearing. Often people see the end result of a build, seeing photos or maybe a short, and think one of two things. This looks really easy and I could give it a go, or they think the person makes everything look so easy they never mess up. The beauty of making a video is you can make yourself look as flawless as you want, but I don't really think that's honest. You need to include your failures so people also learn from those as well. I would like to think over the years that I've shown my fair share of failures, but honestly, as you work with familiar materials, you make less and less mistakes. I am still fairly new working with felt, and there was one thing that I didn't think of when coming up with this game plan other than the blue blank not being big enough. I didn't stop to think, can I needle felt into this fabric? Because my game plan initially was to add different shades of blue to the top of this material. I spent over 2 hours at this point stretching it, only to find out it won't stretch any further without ripping, and it's too thick and compact for a needle to go through needle felting it. I broke several needles trying. So do I throw my hands up and quit at this point? No, I pivot and think to myself that I can use some poly filler from a pillow to bulk out the body and just needle felt my loose wool over the top of it. To get it to adhere to the hat, I just hot glued it down in clumps to the brim and then compacted it for about 2 hours or so, stabbing it with an 8-pronged needle felter. After about 2 more hours, I ended up with this shape. You want it to be relatively firm with a decent layer over the top of the hat because, like the cone, it also is too thick and compact to stab through. So I take this pretty blue that I bought way too many boxes of and began covering the whole hat all the way around the brim, just past an inch or so on the underside. Initially, I thought about leaving the spot open of the poly filler, but it was a little tedious trying to get get those shapes perfect, so I'm just gonna add them after the fact. If you've never needle felted before, it's a pretty fun craft to get into. The entry level is fairly cheap, with a starting kit between $30 to $40, and they give you most of the supplies you'll need. You can make plushies, decorations, and all kinds of stuff. I have a playlist that you should definitely check out if you're interested in needle felting. Keep in mind, this is a sped up video. On a surface this big, you'll be stabbing for quite a while, but since I've got the poly filler layer down, I'm only skinning the surface with the dyed wool. This took me another hour or so. Instead of tapping on more wool, I found this fabric spray at the local craft store and decided to transition from black to light blue, spray painting it. I didn't tape off the underside while I was spray painting and had a bit of overspray, which didn't really bother me too much. I knew that I would be adding these gills underneath the cap and it wouldn't matter. I'm just using some fabric paint pens to add on random swirls from the edge of the blue felt brim to the headband on the hat. I know some of you are probably thinking that I could have used an Asian conical hat being closer to the shape, but I wanted the underside to be already having a support structure for the mushroom gills to paint on, so this seemed like the simplest of solutions. I ended up making 2 passes with my paint pen and really liked how well it looked. I actually concocted this plan while my wife was away for a weekend with her mom and sister, so this gave me plenty of time to build this unseen, put it away, and then wait for orders to come in for her cosplay. A dangerous move on my part by guessing a female size for dresses, shirts, corsets, and all that other accoutrement, but I ended up hiding the things for about a week until everything came in, and luckily I guessed pretty good. Now, what whimsical hat would it be without some of those fun scales or white spots on the top of the mushroom? I used a wool carder to mix a few different colors together to make a less pure white. The carder looks like a torture hairbrush from the 80s that would definitely leave you crying after your mom brushed your hair if there was any hair left after. You can also mix it by hand, but the tool speeds up the process. After getting a good mixture, I tap little circles all over the hat into place with my needle felting. I had several parts of my wife's costume that I am going to modify for our Texas Ren Fair visit and would love to share another video or two with you if you're interested. Please let me know down in the comments below if that's something that you'd like to see. I have to dye a dress to match the mushroom as well as some whimsical touches to her accessories. If you decide to make one of these yourself, I'd love to see it. Please tag me in any socials that you do. It was really fun to figure this out even though I had several setbacks. Failure often leads to success if you just push through. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty adorable, and my wife is even more adorable with it on. I definitely think she enjoyed the surprise, and I have a bunch of things that I need to do to modify her costume so that it is custom and super cool. So probably have another video or two showing you her full costume build, as well as adding something to my Viking costume to wear out there. So should be for a pretty fun month. Maybe you will try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with the ability to see something at a Ren Fair, say, ooh, I could make that, and then surprise your wife with it and get extra bonus points. Definitely. Maybe you can get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them much props. Now time to customize the rest of her costume. Peace out. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and you want to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.